CNG Media.
Welcome to Vino with Vito, Dave Taramina. Today's guest is Jason Dion from Century 21. Jason actually runs our Bergen County office in Midland Park. He's the broker there, and welcome, Jason,
Thanks for
coming on.
Okay.
Happy to be here. What's up?
And the one good thing is, look, I got two guys here. They both have no hair on their
I knew
head.
that was coming.
I got a little bit, but I
Yeah.
kept it. But the way I can tell the difference from you two guys is
Our
Jason
height.
actually bought wine.
Yes. Yes.
Jason bought wine, and he bought a nice bottle of
That's a red blend.
red blend Robert Craig.
Yeah, Robert Craig.
There you go. Took it out of our Robert Graham holder here, and I think he
Look at
bought
this one.
Robert Craig because of Robert Graham.
You know,
Yes.
exactly. You got to stick
Right?
with the theme, you know?
And the other thing about Robert Graham, too, is I had a lot of friends that asked me all the time, do they make short sleeve shirts? And guess what? Look,
Wow.
they make short
It's a
sleeve
walking
shirts.
advertisement.
There
Right?
you go.
He's
one of the
Look, like
stockholders.
it's
Well,
psychedelic here.
So
huh?
you know what it is? It's the last show we had Federico from The Sopranos on, right? And now he's so into it, he's trying to dress like Uncle Junior's character. So, I mean,
If you start going senile, then
I
we'll-
wish
we'll have some issues
exactly.
then,
We start
you know?
seeing him walking the streets
Yeah,
of
right,
New York.
exactly.
I mean, I wish, like, can you stand up? Can we get this on camera? Seriously, can you show the audience your pants? I mean,
come on.
you really.
It's a very
pants.
quiet
This
outfit
is
today.
very. Look at that.
Oh, it's
You
very
wanna see-
quiet.
you guys
Salmon
wanna see the
pants and
shoes?
look at the shoes,
Oh,
too.
look at that, huh?
My gosh, it looks
You
like you
got
just walked off the streets of
my
Milan.
You gotta love it, right?
My lord.
We're gonna open this bottle of wine. And Jason, thank you for bringing the wine. I actually
Yeah.
brought you a nice Vino with
Oh, I
Vito
love that.
t-shirt.
Thank you. That's awesome.
When you're in a Fairfield office, if you want to wear it and go into the Fairfield Park, the squirrels will follow you.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan.
So Jay,
Yeah.
while he's opening the wine, right? Talk for the audience, right? They all know Vito,
Sure.
works in Fairfield.
Yep.
But can you talk a little bit about Century 21, The Crossing?
Absolutely,
Talk
yeah.
about the company.
Yeah,
For
for
those you
sure.
mentioned Midland Park, so
Yeah,
kind of
so
tell us. Yep.
I actually started with the brand. This is my second Century 21 office. I started with the brand about 8 years ago. It's a great brand. It is the most respected in the industry, and I kind of recognized that really early on. So how I kind of came into Century 21 The Crossing is was following Jason Fiello, who's the broker owner of Century 21, of all three of our offices, and the different agents and the company itself, following them on social media. Big social media guy, obviously my age too. I spend a lot of time on social media scrolling.
How old are you?
38.
Ah,
I'm a
yeah, they
millennial.
got him. Say
Yeah, I'm a millennial. I am a millennial.
So now you know his age.
Yeah,
That's
so
You're only a couple years older than me, though.
that's it. That's it. So I was paying attention to that on social media, and I was like, look at like what they're doing over there. Like they're doing everything big. Like everybody's just knocking it out of the park. So I reached out to him and I said, listen, I'd like to have a conversation with you. We sat down, we had a great rapport, and then I joined about 2.5 years ago now,
Yep.
actually. So, and coming into this position as the managing broker of the Bergen County office too, you guys have a great presence in Essex County, obviously with you, and in Morris County as well. But there really was no presence in Bergen County, and I felt like the business model and the way that things were done would really benefit the Bergen County market. Because even though, listen, at the end of the day, we're all North Jersey. We can service anywhere we want to service. Each market is a little bit different, right? Each county is a little bit different. The demographics are a little bit different. The buyer pools are a little bit different. So I kind of saw the marketing and just the different campaigns, the We Are Local campaign, how, when a listing is put on the market, you guys blow it out of the water. You want to be a part of that, right? So, that's how, we kind of came and we started to discuss things and we're like, listen, you know what? I think this is a really good opportunity to break into that market share. And so far, so good. We're doing really well in Bergen County. So,
On that note, salute.
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 Try this wine here.
Let's try it.
Very good.
That's a good blend,
Very
right?
choice.
That's a good
Very
blend.
good.
I'm a big blend guy.
Look
I
at
like
that.
blends.
Even though it's not an Italian wine.
It's not an Italian
it's
wine.
still
I did think
very-
about bringing a Chianti, but I figured,
Nah,
he's
this
probably
is-
got 100 of those
Yeah.
already.
This is
I'm gonna-
Bring something different.
I'm gonna move it out of the shot here because I almost fried the microphone.
Oh, don't-
Like,
don't-
but about-
Dip it in there.
Well, no,
No.
because usually the glass is here, and I keep going.
That's a very
Yeah.
arm in arm, like you're doing
Yeah.
a champagne
Yeah.
toast.
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing a toast with the mic every time I take a
that's
sip.
great.
So-
That's hilarious.
We're in love.
But Jason, coming in to our office there, and I remember you and Nick coming in there, and Nick and yourself going into doing the Bergen County office, which I think was a great thing for our office to do. We actually do things a lot differently, and I'm glad that people out there notice.
Absolutely,
and it's it's very important. We need to put the word out there. Hey, Century 21 The Crossing. Why would you want to join our office? Why,
would you want to sell with us?
Right. Why wouldn't you want to list
100%.
your house with us? Why wouldn't you want to buy a house with us? I mean, even going back to today, I stopped by that was actually earlier this afternoon, because this is a night podcast, by the way. When I stopped by earlier this afternoon, you guys, I'm not going to mention the house because it's not on the market yet or anything, but I mean, we had 4 or 5 people at the house.
About 5 different agents rearranging, staging this. It's a multi-million-dollar home in a beautiful area, and it's all hands on deck. It's how it always is. You call one of us, you get all of us.
You get all of us, right? And that's what I like about our office, where it is so important. Where yes, you do get all of us.
Absolutely.
We all do share, our listings. We all do share everything that we do. And that's another good thing that I really love about our office.
Well, when one wins, we all win, right? At the end of the day, I mean, success together, it's about collaboration, it's about innovation, and we all bring something different to the table, right?
Yep.
If I have something coming on in your area, you're the man I would go to. If you have something coming on in my area, we have, the sense of collaboration is probably the most important part of our culture, because at the end of the day, yes, we're all independent, we all have our own businesses to run, but being at this place, and when I say this place, I mean the Crossing, is coming in and walking in the door and having 10 people you can bounce ideas off of all of a sudden, and never feel like they're going to take something from you, or everybody wants to see everybody else win, and that's super rare, especially in our industry. So,
what's the norm in the industry? Like, what in your experience? Like, what do you see like in other offices or people what are complaints?
It depends. You've got a few different things. Like you've got those old school kind of like, your mom's friend Joanne, when she was a real estate agent back in the late 90s, they worked in those old school real estate offices, and, you'd walk in and it would smell stale and there would be topiaries everywhere. And that would be that kind of, there was no innovation. It was kind of like everybody had their book of business. They came to work. They did what they had to do. Nowadays, we have the internet. Also, there's a ton of realtors out there. They're a dime a dozen. So we have no choice but to set ourselves apart, right?
Right.
What's our X factor? So I think that you have that, and those are starting to fizzle out a little bit now as those people start to retire and get out of the business. The other thing I think that is important to mention too is these like online brokerages. Mm-hmm. They look great on paper, but when you actually get down to the nitty gritty, and you look at, I won't mention any names, but when you look at
please don't. We don't want to get sued.
No, of course not. But the level of support, the level of support that you get, you can't walk into your broker's office. You can't come into Bergen County and sit down in front of me, or come to an office and sit down in front of Vito. You don't have that level of support, so you're essentially on your own. Because at the end of the day, they could be 90%, 100%, but 100% of 0 is still 0 at the end of the day.
Yep. And
I will tell you that I myself, and I'm sure Vito, you can attest to this as well, the opportunities I had coming here have more than tripled my amount of business that I bring in every year. Mm-hmm. I thought I was doing well before. Just working here and more doors being opened up essentially by being here has opened that up tenfold. And that's extremely valuable at the end of the day, because not only do we as agents need to bring value to a brokerage, but that brokerage has to prove its value to us as well.
Yep.
Why are we here? Why do we hang our license here? So I think that as far as what's going on right now, the trend I'm seeing is, because the younger generation is coming in, right, at the end of the day, they want the support. They want the training. They want the hand-holding. They want to know that there's going to be someone there for them when they need to be able to pick up the phone, send a text message, call. Someone's going to pick up the phone.
Yep.
So. Right, because years ago, and you still kind of get it now, too, every once in a while, where an agent, hey, can I join your office? Are you going to give me any leads? Or you're going to give me this?
Absolutely.
Or you're going to give me that? It's not a matter of us giving you everything. I mean, you got to go out there and hunt.
This is your business at the end of the day, too, and you have to have the right mindset. I think that, and Vito, you know this too, like, it's very rare that we go out and outwardly hunt for agents. Most of the agents that we recruit are inbound. they see our culture, they see what we're doing, they see how we're different, and they want to come work with us. They talk to you, they talk to me, they'll even talk to Dave.
Yep.
They'll say, like, these guys are doing something different. I want to work there.
Yep.
And I think the fact that it's such a selective few, we've got some really heavy hitters with our company,
Yeah.
but there's not a ton of them. And I think that that's the business model that is going to be successful is when you have, it's not about volume, it's about the value right there, right? So it's not about having 150 agents on the roster. It's about having 40, 50 agents that do business
Right.
that you can support in a way that you need to support to make sure everybody's successful.
And everybody in our office, like you mentioned it earlier, you know, everybody helps each other out.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm getting a listing here, or you know what, I got a phone call. I'm really not familiar with that area
Absolutely.
or that house. What do you think?
Yep.
And if I don't know the answer, you ask somebody else.
Yep.
But somebody will have that answer
100%
for
agree.
you. And that's the other great thing about
Absolutely.
you know,
Support is huge.
A lot of that starts from the top too with Jason.
Always.
I mean, you know,
does.
I started working with Jason. When did you start working with Jason? Because I started working with
Actually, when did Jason start working with me?
Well, when did you-
That's
right,
How,
like, when
that's
did-
how it really
How long?
is.
So
Yeah.
when did you
If
go
we're
over-
gonna- if we're gonna, you know, bring Jason up again?
Yeah.
It was 2007, right?
Actually, I knew Jason's dad back in the '90s, early
Right.
'90s.
But
We
you
ended
moved
up
your-
going
yeah.
together, in 2009.
So that's
but
when-
that's when
yeah.
the market crashed. It was just me and Jay, and we would only bounce things again, you know, off each other.
And I remember this. That's when I started working with Jay,
tough time,
because
too,
of
yeah.
Vito.
It was a
and,
tough time,
you know.
yeah.
But you know, the thing with Jason is not to, you know, and you know, if you know Jason, you know that we don't want to, you know, stroke his ego too much. But the thing with Jason is he had a vision, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
In 09, 10, 11, and this vision is, you know, is being realized, and so that part of that vision was going to Bergen County, right?
Yep.
And I remember
and Morris County,
and Morris
because
County.
again, we were
started
just
in-
in,
you
we
started
were
in
just in
Fairfield.
Essex.
Right,
Yeah.
right, but this is about Dion now. We're going.
We're gonna
You can talk about me all day.
Talk about Dion. There you
Let's talk it
go.
all in.
So interesting enough, I met Jason and
Yes.
Nick probably like first week you were in the business.
Yeah, if
yeah,
that.
yeah. So at his prior employer.
Yep.
And I met them, so I remember. And it's funny when Jason Fiella told me you were coming over 2 years ago. I was like, oh, you're gonna love this guy, this and that. So watching you up close for all these years, but now especially being in the office
Yep.
and realizing, you know, like especially Midland Park, like I've seen you like in, you know, get involved in the community, it's your community.
Absolutely.
So I guess like, you know, and I know you're growing and
Yep.
and I know that you came into this business in a team concept, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so which is huge. So if I'm a realtor now, right, and whether I'm new or whether I'm not, right,
Mm-hmm.
why do I want to come and work with Jason Dion? Why do I want to be on Jason Dion's team?
I would say that the biggest thing is that, you know, I know what it's like to be at the bottom. I still remember what it's like to be at the bottom because, you know, don't forget, I've been in this business like almost 8 years, I should say. Prior to that, I worked at a corporate job. You know, I was head of sales and marketing for a software company, and it was doing something completely different. I'd always wanted to dabble in real estate, but I never had the chops to do it. So
Right.
when I finally got into it, I didn't know anybody. At that point, I didn't know any brokers, and I'm not originally from New Jersey either. So I lived in a place where I didn't really have a network of people. I had friends, but at the end of the day, you also know too when you get into this business, it's hard to get people to trust you, right? You're talking about one of the biggest investments that they're going to make, whether they're buying or selling. So I think that I still remember what it's like to be like that, and all of the things I wish somebody would have taught me or told me then.
Right.
How to prospect, how to put myself out there, how not to give a shit about what anybody thinks.
Yep.
How to just keep doing it over and over again in consistency. You're going to get there eventually.
Right.
You know, and I think that that's what happens a lot of times with newer agents is that they get frustrated or they don't have a mentor or have a coach or someone they can, like you said, bounce ideas off of. And when you don't have that, you're going to get discouraged because this is not an easy business to be in. And it's
No,
not
it's
for
not.
everyone.
Nope.
So you kind of figure out early on, you know, the things that you need. And again, I would go into it and say, we have a great training program at the end of the day, but that only goes so far. It's about the individuals as well. They have to be willing to do it. They have to be hungry. And you got to do what these top agents are doing.
Yep.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to duplicate it. And you have to be innovative while you're doing it as well. Things are going to change. They change all the time.
Yep.
So I think the biggest thing is whether it's a brand new agent or somebody coming over from somewhere else, I think the best thing to do is to treat it the exact same way because the way that we do things is so different that you essentially have to kind of start from the ground up. Not that you rebuild your business, but you're rebuilding your mindset around real estate.
Yep.
We don't just kind of take listings on, cross our fingers and say, hope it sells. We do so much
Yep.
for our clients all the time.
All the time, right?
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of other agents out there where all they do is, okay, I got a listing, I put a sign up, it's going to sell. And
Absolutely.
do nothing about it.
Sure.
They
And-
don't spend money on it.
No.
They don't spend anything for advertising.
Absolutely.
They don't let any of the other agents,
Yes.
push it for them. They just decide,
And listen,
hey,
in a good market, that
it's gonna
makes-
happen,
And
right.
listen, in a good market, listen, during COVID, we all know this. Anybody, a monkey could have sold the
Sold
house
the
during
house.
COVID,
That's
right?
right.
You didn't even have time to order marketing supplies. The house was already sold. Where our concept comes into play and is so much more important is when it's not a COVID market.
Right.
When it's not about when we do our marketing and we put all that stuff out there, it's so your home is in front of as many people as possible. And whether or not, it's a seller's market, it's a buyer's market, it should make no difference. We expect and we offer the same level of service no matter what.
Regardless of the market.
Whether it's easy for us or it's going to be hard for us, we're going to do the exact same thing regardless. And I think that's important.
One thing
And- no, go ahead.
One thing I noticed at the meeting the other day was I think it was Jason or Megan said it. Regardless, or maybe you, regardless of the market or regardless of if it sells in 1 day or 5 days,
Yep.
10 days, everything's uniform. I want the same professional pictures,
And that's important.
Same professional
Absolutely.
videos. Everything across the board, you have to put your best foot forward
On
for the
every
client,
single
on
one.
every single listing.
And we're setting a standard at the end of the day, right? Like
Right.
this is a great place to work. It's hard to get in here, right?
Yep.
This is like, getting into the most exclusive club in New York City. That's the way that we treat the company because we're very selective about who we bring in.
Yep.
Because of that. We have high expectations of the agents and because their clients are going to have high expectations of them because of their affiliation with the company. So
Right.
it's all relative at the end of the day.
Right, you're not just going to bring a Joe Schmo in
No,
there to go
no
get
way.
a listing, and
Not
all
gonna
of
happen.
a sudden, you don't get that listing.
No.
And then the seller will tell you, I didn't give it to him because look how he presented himself.
Absolutely.
Right.
And you don't want that. So
And I think the biggest thing people need to realize too is like, yeah, Century 21, The Crossing, great brand, great company. But what people lack too sometimes is personal branding. You have to know who you are as an agent
That's
too.
right.
Right.
I offer something different than Vito offers, something different than you offer, something different than Jason offers or Meg offers. Everyone is different in what they offer. Personalities are very different too. People jive differently with different personalities. So
Dress codes.
dress codes things.
I mean,
right.
look
You're
at
either
Vito.
loud-
what's with the dress code? Come on.
He looks like he's walked off the birdcage right now. You know what I mean? This looks like he's about to head into the filming of the birdcage.
You guys are killing me here.
Great. Hopefully, some of our audience knows that movie. That was great with Nathan Lane, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at that. Let's make fun of Vito.
You know what, Vito? You're a sharp dresser, though, man. As long
Oh
as-
my God.
Listen, you're married. As long as your wife likes it, that's all that matters.
She loves it. And I got to admit, though, one thing. Every time I go somewhere, as Andrew Berg said, too, you get the compliments. I went out to lunch. Hey, I loved your shirt. Hey, where did you get that shirt?
It's
You know
definitely
what?
statement
It's
pieces. I mean, there's
statement
no.
pieces.
I can't
It's
get
art.
Berg
It's
Cage
statement,
out of
you
my
know? I can just imagine opening Vito's closet and having needing sunglasses. to
yes,
wear inside.
yes,
Like, oh,
yeah.
What do you wear to a funeral?
It's like the red
exactly?
light district.
Yeah, what do you wear to a funeral?
Yeah.
By the way, they
Yes.
make a black shirt, just black.
Black
with just
shirt,
a
got
cuff,
it.
But,
Oh my God,
That's hilarious.
That is funny. So, yeah, but you know what though? Like, and we joke and I make fun of about 90% of what he wears.
Absolutely.
But it's his own brand.
It's his brand.
Even if you look behind on the sign, right?
100%.
Yeah.
I would know that's Vito from a mile away at the end of the day. He has
Absolutely.
his own brand, and people know Vito loves good wine, right?
Right.
Vito's Italian. Vito
Yeah,
wears
likes
loud
cars,
clothes.
right.
He loves cars. So that's part of his personal brand.
He's integrating, like, your
Yes.
personal with your business. Like even on the mortgage end, we say it like there's people who specialize in like veterans, right? Or like
absolutely.
or whatever, and you embed yourself in that culture.
At the end
like,
of the day, it's how you connect with people
Right.
too, right? Our business is not about. We say it all the time. We don't sell homes. We don't buy homes. We sell. It's about the relationship that
Right.
we have with people, right? Gaining their trust, getting them to feel comfortable with you, and it has a lot to do with your interests and whatnot too.
Yep.
That plays a huge part in it. I think this is like such a rare industry to be in because we literally have to put our heart, soul, personality, everything into it to earn business at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely. And when you go for a listing, if you're on a listing appointment, right, you got to look at it as you're on a job interview.
Yeah, for
okay?
sure.
The person on the other end is, hey, why am I hiring you for this position?
Absolutely.
Or, and stuff like
100%.
that. And I always tell the people too, if I'm on a listing appointment and we're talking, and I let them know, hey, this is like a job interview. Why would you hire me versus the other person?
Absolutely.
You're
You're proving your value at that
right.
point.
You're telling them why you should hire me versus somebody else. Or a lot of times I won't even mention the other people. This is why I'm here.
Yep.
This is why I want you to hire me.
Yep. This is why I'm best for the job at the end of the day.
This is why I'm best for the job.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll be honest with you, I'll go on a listing appointment and be the first one there when they're interviewing 3 or 4 people.
Making people feel uncomfortable as they walk out of the house.
Right.
Just stands there.
No.
Stands there with his Robert Graham shirt on his Ferrari
Exactly.
and just stares at people
Just
as
stares
they
at
walk
him.
out of the house.
Yes.
But no, they don't even make it a chance to walk out of the house. Sometimes, true story.
Yeah.
I'm talking to somebody where it was on a listing appointment, and she goes, "I just want you to know I'm interviewing 3 other people."
Yep.
And I said, "Absolutely, I want you to
Absolutely.
interview
You always want people to feel
3
comfortable when they're
other
hiring you.
people."
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking after about an hour into our discussion there, because me, I don't like to talk a lot at all.
Oh, no, not you.
It was always the person on the other end, and we're just there, and all of a sudden I see her on her phone, and I'm like, oh, what did I do wrong? And we keep talking. Then she puts her phone down, then she does it again, and she goes, okay, you know what? I really like everything you said today, and I really like everything. And she goes, you know what? I'm ready to put my house up for sale. I said, well, wait a minute. You have 2 other people that are coming in that you're going to interview.
Sure.
She goes, no, I don't. I just canceled them. She actually got on her phone and canceled those other 2 listings.
And you know what, though? That means she felt extremely comfortable essentially putting her biggest investment in your hands. And that's what you want at the end of the day, right?
Right.
I'm sure you're this same way. Today's day and age, again, realtors are a dime a dozen. I walk into an appointment, and I know you do the same thing. Confident enough in my abilities. Listen, if we don't vibe well together, you should be interviewing multiple people.
Yeah.
You need to feel comfortable in your decision at the end of the day, because when you make that decision, you're going to be working with me, and we're going to get right to work.
Right.
I want you to be as confident as I am in the situation.
Right, and we're going to get the job
We're
done.
going to get the job done.
Yeah.
100%.
And at the end of the day, you know what? We're going to sell your house for
Yes.
the best possible dollar. And
Yeah.
I had another one. We just did a condo. Ended up getting 15 offers.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
It's insanity.
The market is still insane.
I'll tell you right now, I think it's worse now, and I'm not going to say worse. That's a bad term to use, but I think it is more crazy right now than it was during COVID.
Yes.
I feel,
absolutely,
even though the interest
100%.
rates were a fraction of what they are now, I think people are really starting to realize, and especially with the rent prices in New Jersey, the rental prices right now are astronomical.
forget it.
I just saw
Forget it.
highest and best on 2 rentals for a client.
On a rental.
insane.
On a rental.
On a rental.
Highest and best on a rental. Could you imagine? You couldn't beg people to rent a house.
Right.
Now it's highest and best. So it's madness right now. And I think people are more serious. I think buyers are smart. They know eventually rates are going to stabilize. We're never going to see those 2-3% rates. We don't want a pandemic ever again.
Right.
At least I don't. So
No.
And I don't think you'll ever see that. So, people are realistic. They're like, all right, they're going to come down eventually. And guess what's going to happen when they come down? Everybody comes back to the market. Shit still happens at the end of the day. People still have kids. People still want to downsize. Families grow. There's divorces.
Yep.
Life still always happens at the end of the day. So
Right.
I think that's kind of important to always keep in mind. I think buyers are a lot smarter.
And
now, too.
the other thing too is, I mean, yes, the prices are high right now, but even though the prices are high, the mortgage rates are high,
Yep.
and
Mortgage
they
rates aren't
being
that
in-
high.
They're not that high.
Not
but being in
historically,
the-
no.
right?
Yeah.
But say you're almost 7%. I know you can't give us what the rate is today. What's the rate today, Dave?
Ballpark.
Give me a ballpark.
Give me a ballpark.
Ballpark.
7%?
Between like 6.5 to 7.
Okay, 6.5
Which
to
it
7.
was 8%
It was-
6 months ago.
Yeah.
So,
three weeks ago
Yeah,
it was up
right.
there.
It was up there too, yeah.
But that's why you need somebody like us as a realtor, someone like Dave as
Yep,
a mortgage
absolutely.
company with guaranteed rate.
Yep.
Is, hey, where do you guys think the market is going? Okay, yes, the market is high, the rates are high. But guess what? If the rates do go lower and now you refinance, guess what? You just saved as if the rate,
100%.
right, the price of the house came down and not up.
And
But that's why you need people like us to explain.
that, exactly.
And to talk to people about it. Now, you get somebody else that's new in the business.
They're not going to be able to do that.
They have no idea.
Because they never lived through it, too. And I
Right.
think that, like, we're seasoned enough to know, too, like, all right now we have a very low inventory market. That's why home prices are through the roof.
Through the
multiple
roof,
offers.
right.
But guess what happens? Now you're competing with 15 other buyers on one property, right? You said your condo. Same thing with me. I had a 2-family in North Bergen. It was insanity. Now, take a market where the interest rates come down, you have even more competition at that point because now people can afford more than they could before. So, and now people can afford to sell their homes and buy something else. So
Right.
you are going to have competition no matter which way the market goes. You're gonna have that competition. So do you do it now or do you do it later?
All right. So on that note, go ahead.
Wait.
Right, go ahead.
I want to throw you two for a loop. Am I allowed to throw for a loop?
Absolutely,
Can we,
please.
Can we go? Yeah. Can we? All right. Can we check with the man behind the curtain, the Wiz?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're good.
All right.
All
let's
right.
do
So we
it.
have the manager now. After this, right? This is either going to make you guys look great, or Jay may fire both of you.
Okay.
All right. So are we good with this?
Yes.
We have the manager of the Century 21 Fairfield
Yep.
office and the manager of the Midland Park Bergen
Yes.
County office.
No, me no manager. Go
Me
ahead.
no- All right. Well, listen, you
head
guys,
honcho there.
you guys are the experts in Essex County
Okay.
and Bergen County. Would you say? Would you agree? We're gonna do predictions.
Okay.
You guys want to go on record?
Yeah, let's do
and then
it.
we're gonna roll the tape back a year from now.
I'm
Ready?
down. Let's do it.
Bergen County. What percentage do you think home prices will either increase or decrease
In the next year,
in the next year?
I'm gonna say in the next year probably 20%.
Increase.
Yep.
Vito, Essex.
Increase?
Yeah.
Wow.
20% increase.
Increase. I'm going to
Essex
say
County.
they're either going to stabilize or decrease,
Flat or decrease by how much?
give or take 5-10%.
But this is very common of Vito and I. Vito
Yeah,
is
I know. That's why I
Vito
wanna-
is more doom and gloom,
Yes.
and I'm a little bit more positive.
Yes,
so we're
this-
we're a good average
Yes.
between the two of us. You
There
know.
you go.
Bergen County. Which
Yeah.
town will appreciate the most? It's a big county.
All right. So the town that will appreciate the most. So
Percentage wise, not price. Percentage wise.
percentage wise.
Yep. And why?
And which town you talking about?
Any town. Which town do you think will percentage wise is going to go up the most value in a year?
I'm gonna always say Ridgewood all day
Ridgewood.
long. Best school system one of the best school systems in the country, and I'm gonna say, what will those home prices increase? 20 to 30%.
Wow.
In the past,
E-model.
I would say 5 years, you could have. I'm gonna give you an example. You could have bought a split level in Ridgewood 5 years ago for probably $650,000. That same split level today is over $1 million. You can't touch Ridgewood. You cannot touch Ridgewood. The school system is incredible in Ridgewood. So
Yep.
everybody is flocking. Don't forget train station downtown. You know, it's compared to a place too like Montclair, the taxes are lower than Montclair. They're high compared to other areas in Bergen County, but there's a lot of perks to that town. And the school system is number one. So you will see Wyckoff is another one, you know, Allendale, Franklin Lakes, all great school systems.
But we went with Ridgewood though. Vito
Yeah,
for
Ridgewood.
Essex.
Fairfield, my hometown.
Always.
What percentage do you think it's going to increase?
It'll probably be about, again, stabilize and maybe increase top 10%.
10% increase.
Top.
Did you see the article too? Fairfield.
Fairfield
and Ridgewood
is
was
number
on there
one.
too. It was
Yep,
number one.
Fairfield's number one.
Yeah.
Where do you think rates will be? 30-year fixed rates will be in 1 year.
I'm gonna go
You're
at
putting us on the spot.
I'm gonna go
here.
at 6%.
Don Vito.
5.5.
Oh, see, now I like his predictions.
But that also has a lot to do with politics too, right? At the end of the day, we have an election coming
Oh,
up. So.
Vito politics.
Oh,
No, we don't have to get into the politics.
Chris,
part
cut his
of it.
mic.
We don't have to get into that part of it. But I kind of feel too like every
Here,
time you
have
see
some more wine.
whenever you see an election, you're gonna rates fluctuate. You
Yeah.
know, at the end of the day. So I think that we could even see lower interest rates sooner than that. That's
Yep.
my own prediction at the end of the day too. You know, they want to boost the economy, they want to keep people happy. Whether
That's
it's
it.
the same president or a new president, you're still gonna see that. Let's make everybody happy, even though if it's indirectly or not. You see changes in the stock market as well. So I think we're gonna see some type of changes.
Okay. How many rate cuts are we going to get this year from the Fed?
I'm gonna say one more.
Vito?
Is that you drinking your wine so you don't say anything?
No. I'll even put the mic up. I think we're going to get definitely one by September, and probably one, depending on who gets elected, probably by December.
So 2.
Yep.
So for Realtor Awards, what are you gonna be this year? Your prediction?
New
Gold?
Jersey?
New Jersey.
I'm going for platinum, maybe.
Platinum.
My production is pretty high right now.
Vito?
I want to be copper.
Copper?
Of course, platinum.
Vito's a platinum agent at the end of the day.
Best mortgage guy you know?
Dave Taramina, guaranteed rate all day long, my friend.
Vito?
Don't put me on the spot.
Well,
Well, it's actually
Of
great
course,
though, because
Dave.
Vito right
Yeah.
now is number 3 in the entire company right now.
Wow.
Century 21.
all
Huge,
of
right?
Century 21.
So it's broken down by state.
Yeah.
So Century 21 in the state of New Jersey actually has like 20. Don't quote me on this, but like 2,500 agents. Those are producing agents.
Okay.
So to be number 3 out of 2,500 agents is a huge accomplishment.
Wait.
So
I feel
Hold on
good.
a second.
cheers to you, my friend. Cheers.
Wait. I'm not
Cheers,
cheering
cheers.
him. Hold on a
Hey,
second.
pick up your glass.
Number 3 in the state in Century 21.
Yes.
And he
Yes.
made me pay for a sandwich the other day.
Oh, listen.
Oh, man.
Nobody said he's not cheap. He's got all those Ferraris and Robert Graham to buy. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
There you
it's
go.
true.
Who's walking around with
Do
a
you-
Robert Graham wine
Do
holder?
you have
know?
any idea what this Robert
Yeah,
Graham
my
shirt
gosh.
costs?
Oh, yes.
All right.
He's a top shareholder in their company.
Yeah,
you know
I was
what
just
mean?
gonna listen. I sat in a Robert Graham store on a Saturday afternoon with this guy for 6 hours. I know how much they cost.
Well, it's funny. I almost wore a Robert Graham shirt today, so I went in my closet. And
You
I'm
have
like,
a
let me
Robert Graham shirt?
I have a few of them.
Really?
Look at that.
Yeah, so I went in my closet and I go to put it on, and listen, when the styles of shirts have changed a little bit, right? So this was the one with the long cuffs that you had to like roll up, and as I rolled it up, I said, "Oh my God, I can't drive down the street walking to an appointment." It was loud. It almost looked like Vito's shirt, to be honest
see?
with you.
Oh my
but
God.
You want.
but it's
Nice
got
and
all
loud.
that stuff, and I said, "How funny is this?" But you know what? Great brand, best place, honestly. So by us, speaking of Midland Park in Bergen County, Salaretta. I don't know if you've ever been to Salaretta. So it's a men's store, high-end men's store, and they're all about Robert Graham in there. That's
Wow.
actually where I bought that shirt too.
Oh, I gotta
It
go
is
see
a high-end men's
Salaretta.
store.
They sell Robert Graham in
They
a place
do.
where Vito doesn't know.
And I'm going to tell you,
That's
boy.
they
amazing.
are. So the way that store started was the grandfather of the current owner was a tailor, came over from Sicily. Okay, and they're big into real estate too. They own a lot of real estate.
Wait, hold on. I'm the Sicilian. He's the
Ah.
mainlander.
Oh, you're the mainlander? Okay.
Yeah, gotta
so
point this way.
They came over from Sicily,
Yes.
you know what I mean? I just thought by the way he dressed, you know what I mean? But they came over from Italy. The grandfather was a tailor, started this like menswear store, and then it just grew and grew and grew, and now it's a high-end menswear store in Bergen County, in Midland Park actually. You go in there, Jason has a few jackets from them. I've got
I
some
gotta
stuff
go
from
check
them.
it out.
I'm gonna go
Awesome.
check it out too. Actually,
It is like you walk in, it is the old school quintessential men's store. You walk in, you get measured, you get a man in a suit walking up to you, and
Wow.
it's white glove service all day long. So I'd highly recommend that.
maybe we should do a podcast from there.
Yeah.
That would be awesome, and I'm sure they would love that too.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to Arizona next week,
Beautiful.
and Scottsdale
Oh,
actually
you're gonna
has a
love
Robert
that.
Graham store.
Oh.
Have you ever been?
I've never been there.
Scottsdale is
Yeah,
I'm
beautiful.
gonna tell you, Scottsdale is awesome. I don't know if you suffer from allergies or anything like that. I will tell you, I went there and I spent a few months there on business years ago and got off the plane. And every sinus issue I had dried up. Now, granted, your skin dries up. You look like a
Yeah.
cactus by the time you leave.
Yep.
But literally no issues whatsoever with like breathing. And it's beautiful there. I mean, Scottsdale is, you were
It's
going to
so
see some of the
nice.
most beautiful women.
Really?
Some of the most
Yeah.
beautiful houses. It is
Wow.
stunning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me and my boy Ralphie. We're
Funny
gonna
part
do a
is-
boys trip.
He's
So-
from school now. That's great.
So funny part, I was talking to his son the other day, 3 days ago, and excuse me, and I was like, "Oh, what are you guys gonna do in Arizona?" To Ralphie, and he goes, "Oh, I don't know, we're gonna do this." And I go, "Well, you guys gonna play golf?" He goes, "What are you crazy?" He goes, "My father will have a heart attack in that heat playing golf."
You don't play golf? It's a different kind of heat. Though.
It's dry.
It's a dry heat.
Yeah.
You could drink a lot there.
My brother lived out there for years in
Oh,
Scottsdale
we can
for
drink.
years.
Oh,
yeah.
so then I'm
You
good.
got to go to the rooftops. You got to go to the W Hotel rooftop.
Yeah,
you gotta
but-
go to all
but
those
here's the
places.
thing,
Thank God
though.
for Uber.
Here's the thing: if they
Oh,
have
yeah.
if they have sales tax on their clothes, he's not buying any.
Oh,
Robert
no
Graham.
way.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Unless they give
Arizona.
me a good
Yeah.
discount there. But
Yeah.
You'll have to go out to drive out to the
To-
Grand
to the-
Canyon.
to the
They have
Grand
a Robert
Canyon.
Graham. Yeah, the Grand.
Yeah.
See, they have a
And
Robert
the guy
Graham
on
store
the-
there.
on-
You know what I
on
mean?
the side
Yeah,
there.
exactly. That is funny.
But Dave, I like what
Yeah.
you brought up here. You know, all our predictions and
Yeah.
everything else. So
What do you predict? Let's turn it around on you.
There you go.
We can play that game. Come on. What do you predict?
You got to fire the question.
No, same question.
Northern New Jersey, because you work everywhere, right? So
yeah.
give us like where you think in Northern New Jersey. What's the hottest market that you see kind of blown out of the water?
All right, so I would say, oh geez, now I'm on the spot.
Nope, doesn't matter. No judgment.
We won't know until a year from now. We'll look
Yeah,
back.
I
at
would
this.
say like right now I'm seeing a very hot area in Bloomfield. Bloomfield selling like crazy. Clifton
Yeah,
selling like crazy.
absolutely.
Just trying to think. Morristown, there's a lot of sales in that area.
Yep.
I would say the town that it all comes down to transportation, right?
100% agree.
So you have towns like Westfield, Madison.
Yep.
Right. These are all towns with transportation. Rutherford.
Yep.
Are other ones that I think are definitely going to keep up there. Rates, I would say if I had to guess, I'm going to go with 6% as well. I'm going to go with you on that one. Everything right now is tied to jobs, right?
Yeah.
Inflation
Too.
so much on. But inflation's like a little bit under control now.
Yeah.
That was the one factor. The next factor is jobs, right? As you start seeing
right?
unemployment, as you start seeing unemployment and the jobs market slack a little bit, you will start seeing rates come down a little bit, right? I think what's going to happen if I had to make like a prediction, right? Like, because you think about it, right? We've talked about it before. A lot of people have rates below, like 80% of people have rates below 5%, right?
100%.
And you would start to think, right? Like, okay, they're never going to sell, right? Everyone's going to stay in this rate forever, right? But then something funny happens, right? You look at people's debt accumulation, right? And credit card debt is right now at the all-time high it's ever been.
Sure.
So you asked the historian. That's
No, I like this.
Yeah,
though. I like
but so
this.
is equity in the home, right?
Yeah.
People have the most equity they've ever had, but also the most debt they ever had, right? So
does that even out at the end of the day?
kind of
though?
like, so I think you're going to see a shift, right? Like what's going to happen. I mean, just again, this is just my prediction. Eventually, people are going to look and say, okay, I'm carrying a lot of debt, right?
Yep.
Whether it's credit cards, personal loans, student loans, whatever. What is that 3% rate doing for me, right? If I could refinance.
When I'm paying 20% on credit cards, 10% on
Correct.
credit cards, all that, right?
Correct.
Speaking about credit cards, okay? I was.
Look how he just cuts me off.
Did we let you finish your
I know.
No, go ahead. no, finish, and then because sometimes with
Listen,
my
no,
ADD,
listen, no, all right?
Yes.
We gotta get to
This is
it.
what
wait,
happens
wait.
when Uncle
All right.
June gets a thought.
All right, go ahead. Finish up, and then I want to talk about credit
So
cards.
eventually what's going to happen is people are going to refinance their mortgages to either do cash out, debt
pay off that
consolidation,
debt.
to pay off that debt, right?
Okay.
At that point now, you're no longer locked into that 2% rate. You're at 5% now, 5.5%, hopefully, right? You may be more willing to put your house on the market at that point, right? So this happened in the late 90s, right?
That's a really
in early
good point. Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's a really good point.
Eventually you get unmarried to that low rate because life happens, and then, and that's just a cycle of of debt, right? You would
Why
think.
do you think there is so much credit card debt right now, though?
I think inflation is just
You think it's
eating-
lack of is it lack of income? Is it
I think it's
living beyond your means? Like, what could it? Do you think it's any of those things?
I truly think it's just inflation.
Yeah.
Like I think there is
Affordability of
affordability, right?
Sure.
Like think about like what you just said, right? Like with there's a highest and best on rental. People are challenging each other for rental.
It's crazy.
So things are so high. Like, if you read the CPI report, which is Consumer Price Index, insurance, health insurance was like, and car insurance and home
my God,
insurance
yeah.
was like
All
40%.
It's absurd. Look
So-
at groceries right now.
Yeah.
You can't, if you go and buy chicken or steak.
Right.
I'll never forget this. I went and bought, not to cut you off,
Yeah,
Dave,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Like,
That's right.
skirt steak, one of my favorite steaks. Went to go buy it, and it was like
$25 a pound.
It was like insanity. It cost me like $130 for a skirt steak
Yeah.
for like 6 people, and I'm like, this is absurd
It's
right
insane.
now. Like,
Man.
And
that's food.
And that's why you're seeing, I think, like, people are living, if you're on a fixed income
Sure.
or you're not getting a salary increase because wages haven't caught up. I think that's why you're seeing the credit card debt. Rate cuts, I'm going to go with 0.
No rate cuts.
No rate cut.
Why do you think that?
I think there's going to be at a wait and see. I just think jobs are too strong right now. I agree with you both that I'm the best mortgage person. That was the last one.
I'm shocked at that.
And one other question. One other one before we get the credit cards. What are the predictions?
What do you think that? So as far as it being, you see the way the market is right now, right? We're in a low inventory seller's market. Do you see it shifting in the next year?
No. Definitely
Oh,
not.
I can't wait
No,
for
not
that
in New
one.
Jersey. Oh, we're talking about New Jersey, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No,
I can't wait for that
I think
question to come to me.
But I also think too, not to I also think that we will always be a suburb of New York City, right?
Yep.
We are a state that, however many miles it is, we are Philadelphia here, we are New York City here, but we also are literally smack dab in the middle of so many municipalities on the East Coast. I always feel like we will be a desirable location and a hot real estate market for anybody looking to buy a house.
That's all part of it, but the other and there's because in real estate there's never like one answer.
No, of course not.
And the third part is it's nearly impossible to build in this state.
100%.
Yeah, like you could build, but you have to jump through hoops, and it takes longer, right? Look at Florida right now, right? Like they're
I was
dropping
going to bring
prices.
that.
Yeah,
There you
They're-
go. That was
yeah.
coming.
Texas,
too.
Absolutely.
too.
Texas is the same thing,
Yeah.
though. You are seeing that, but it's crazy. I don't know if and again, this big social media guy, millennial, these states like Idaho and Utah and I pay attention to the real estate markets there too, just because I'm like, what does it look like over there?
Sure.
And you see all these new developments go up, and it's very rare here in New Jersey that we deal with new construction, right?
Right.
We don't deal with new construction as often as they do in other states, and there are pluses and minuses to that. Obviously, there are perks and there's going to be pros and cons to anything like that. But you see these developments going up with 300 houses. I couldn't even imagine 300 houses going up anywhere. Where
Yeah,
are those
where are
300
you
houses
heading?
going? So
Yeah.
people have to be moving
on
there.
top of you.
On top of you,
Yeah.
exactly. People have to be moving there, and those have to be good markets, for that to be happening. The
Right.
market has to be expanding in those rural areas. We'll call
Correct.
them. But I didn't even know. We learned about them in a map, and you learned your capital, and that was the end of it. You didn't know anything else.
Well,
Vito,
What
talk
do
to us
you
about credit
think?
cards.
all right,
Credit
we're
cards.
going to talk about credit cards. We're going to talk about the market
Sure.
in Florida. We're going
Oh.
to talk about a couple different things
Here
in
we
the
go.
market here in Jersey.
Okay.
And again, it's not,
Here comes the Grim Reaper.
here comes the Grim
Get the
Reaper.
sickle. Where's the sickle?
All right. The other day, I'm shopping, my wife and I, and
Where?
Shopping for what?
Yes.
we were just I'm not going to say what we were. It
What
wasn't
do you mean
at a
you're not gonna
Robert.
say what
It
you're
wasn't
shopping
at,
for?
it wasn't
What
at
were
a
you?
Robert Graham
What
store.
were you doing?
What were you
We
shopping
were
for?
just shopping for my son, and we're in a department store.
We buying
okay?
underwear or something? You can talk
no,
about
no,
it?
no. We're
Your
in
son's
a-
like 20 years old. What are you
all
talking
right.
about? You were
He
shopping?
was in college. We're in a department store.
Okay.
So I said, let's buy this,
Yep.
whatever. So we get up to the counter, we buy, and my wife always has her credit cards for every department store, and I don't want to mention the department store. So
Okay.
they come up and they said, okay, do you have a credit card?
Oh,
to
they
me.
want- oh, there we go.
So I go, I think I had one of these years ago. Probably not. Well, I can save you $100
Yeah.
if you open up a credit card or whatever. So I look at my wife. I'm like, I don't need another credit card. But I go, you know what?
$100 is
$100
$100
is
though.
$100. So I said, okay, go ahead. So they ask you a couple questions. Boom, 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 boom. I'm approved. Now I have almost a 900 credit score. Okay.
And that's good considering the highest is 850.
Right.
Right. I
Oh,
was gonna say
whatever.
mine is like 790 right now. So I'm like, where'd that 900 come from?
Vito gets extra credit for change.
I get extra credit for the way I dress, but I have a high credit score
Yep.
up there. So I open a credit card, I get everything. Now I get the bill, and it has the $100 thing on it, deduction.
Yep.
I
said,
bet
all
that's
right,
the
cool.
first thing you looked for.
Oh, you're damn right.
Oh, you would have been on with customer
You're
service.
damn right. I looked for that $100.
I can picture Vito in
Yeah.
just his robe with the hat with a magnifying glass.
Right. Getting into his Ferrari with his rubber graham shirt
Yes.
on. I want my $100,
Yes.
right? You know what I mean? Give me my $100, man.
$100. It's the
Yeah.
But
principle.
no, the $100
principle, right, exactly.
was off. But I go through it, I write the check, and I'm going through the credit card thing, and I look at the end. You know what the interest rate was on
The
that credit
APR,
card?
what was the APR?
30.
Almost 35%. 34.99%.
The only way that stuff makes sense is if you do it and pay it off right away.
Right, but
when
you
don't
have
incur.
to pay it off all
Yeah,
the time. My
absolutely.
wife's like always, oh, I returned this, I said, no, I'm paying it off. I
Yeah.
don't care
Because you paid more
I'm
money
not,
for
I'm
it
not
at that
paying
point.
whatever.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm
It's
looking
crazy.
at it. I'm
Those are the
saying,
worst ones.
30.
The
Jay,
store cards are the worst
Jay,
ones.
35%. I mean, we had the Soprano guy here the other day, right? The Sopranos or whatever.
Yeah.
The mob don't even charge
You
that
can
kind of
get less
interest.
than it. You get 20.
Right.
I get a loan shark for less than that.
For
You know what I
less than
mean?
that.
Yeah.
But how does the government actually let you pay 35% on a credit card?
It's usury,
That's what
right?
I don't get.
It doesn't make any sense, but what's funny is that's what if you think about it, right? And you're the economist. I'm going to call you out of the three.
Right,
You're the
historian,
economist here.
Historian,
Okay?
economist.
35%.
So-
That's why I keep doing the
I
show.
had heart palpitations
But it's funny
on
though.
that.
Think about something, right?
Yep.
The economy, given like, oh, we're going to go into a recession. We're going to do this. The economy was still like this.
Mm-hmm.
So what you said to me was very telling, right? That Americans right now have such high credit card debt because what did they do? They took their credit cards and they still lived their lives.
Yes.
They still went out. They still put gas in their cars. They still went out to dinner. They went shopping. They did this.
Yep.
They did that.
Yep.
And the government allowed that to happen because
Yep.
it still kept the economy running. But now, don't forget, you still have to pay that debt back. It's not
Right.
forgiven money at the
Right.
end of the day.
Right.
You know, you have to pay that back. So when that happens, that's when you run into these issues, I think, though.
35%.
That's insanity,
I
though.
can't get over
That's
that.
insanity.
So there is like, you know,
When I was a kid, we never paid 35%.
well,
When you were a
there's-
kid, they were paying in, you had to barter.
Yeah,
you did whatever
exactly.
you had to do. You know, you had the,
You
the
trade
guy
seashells
there.
for milk, I feel like. You know?
35%.
No. It was vegetables. off the trail.
Vegetables, yeah. Here's an eggplant. Can I get a gallon of milk?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
So you know what they need to do? This country needs, and it's starting to happen, is in school they need to have financial literacy.
100% agree with that.
Yeah,
All day
and,
long.
and it's
Absolutely.
happening.
Yes.
Like my son is, my older son's a freshman, and I look at his financial literacy and courses, and they are teaching it. But it's hard. It's not keeping up, right? Like they don't have like buy now pay later. Like buy now and pay later. It's the 21st century layaway, right? But it's crazy. Like
But the problem is buy now, pay later is you get the item now.
Now,
layaway
pay for
used to have
layaway.
Yes.
You were more apt. You were more apt as a kid when
Yeah.
you wanted something. Like,
Now-
listen,
Right.
your mother would put it on layaway for you, and you
Yes.
wouldn't get that item
Yes.
until it was paid for.
Yeah.
Now it's the other way around.
Right.
You get the item, and then you pay for
And
it
then
later.
you pay for it later.
What's the
but
incentive?
now, but
Right.
again, now I look back and thank for my parents. Thank God for my parents where they
course.
taught us something. You know what?
Yeah.
They were buying a house. They weren't buying a house unless they paid for it.
100%. My parents the same way. Like,
Well, let's slow
it's-
down on that. The
All right.
mortgage,
We didn't need the
mortgage
mortgage.
industry
We
would be
didn't need the
nothing.
mortgage guy
No,
back then.
but at the end of the day, they were able to afford purchasing
Correct.
their home. At the end
Right.
of the day, they could pay their home.
Right. Like you
Yeah.
talk to your parents today. Like, thank God my mom's still alive. She's almost 92 years
Oh,
old.
God
She
bless.
looked
And-
amazing the other day.
God
by the
Thank
way.
you.
Yes,
Thank
she
God
did.
bless her.
But they don't realize what it's like today.
It's not even
It's
I'm gonna be
not
honest.
like
I
it
live
was
with boomer
years
parents,
ago.
right? We call them boomer parents.
Yeah.
My parents are in their 60s, early 60s, and like they just don't
Kind of like
understand.
my age. Go ahead.
But but they don't understand.
That's amazing.
But they don't understand at the end of the day that, and it's no fault of their own. Listen, ignorance is bliss, right? They don't have to deal with it. They're living their life. They've worked hard their entire lives. They've done well for themselves, but they don't understand what it's like to be like this today. Today,
Right.
it is not easy.
Right.
It was easier years ago, and if you're past that cusp and you've moved on from that,
Right.
great, you're doing well right now. But if you're starting off right now, and I hate to say this, but starting off at the end of the day, today's day and age is my age.
right.
Yeah.
Starting off is my age. Maybe a little bit younger, maybe in your your 30s. That's starting off today. It's not
Yep.
in your 20s anymore. Nobody
It's
gets
hard.
married at 22.
It's tough.
You get a full-time job.
Yep.
It's extremely difficult right now. So I think the generational gap when it comes to thinking also plays a huge part in it.
Definitely.
As well.
Definitely.
But yeah, I just don't see, interest rates 35% at a department store. Regular
That's
credit
absurd.
cards probably 25%.
It's absurd.
The interest rates going to borrow a house is 6.5% or whatever. But you look and you say, how can people still afford this? How can
Well, I think you just proved the point that they really can't.
They
That's why their
can't,
credit
right.
card debt
But
is
that-
so
but-
high.
The
but
numbers
that's
show
what-
they can't.
but
The numbers
again,
show they can't, yeah.
So what's going to happen? Okay,
It's
and
gotta
again,
come to a head at some point, right?
Doom and gloom is back here
Comes
again,
to the
right?
Grim Reaper.
The Grim Reaper's
No
here
doom
again.
and gloom.
No doom and gloom, but it's
People
got
have
it.
home equity though.
I understand.
And
you
people
have-
use their home equity like they did in the 90s. Remember in
Right,
the 90s, was a
but-
big home equity push?
But again, that's got to end sometime. We don't know when it's
You're
going to
saying
end.
it's a cycle, right?
It's
Like
a
it's
cycle.
it's a never-ending
we
cycle.
don't know when it's going to end.
But everything is a cycle at the end of the day.
Eventually, come on. You're buying houses that were, like you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
500,000. Now you're paying $1 million for that same house.
yeah.
But
Come
that
on.
house, by the time you're done paying for
For
it, too,
is $1.5 million,
is
$1.8 million.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't see that. Now going back, you turn the clock back and you go back in 07. right? We're at the peak, whatever.
And I did mortgages back at that time.
Did you
honestly.
really?
Oh, I was in college at the same time, and I did mortgages. I was part of that whole
College,
hot
wow.
mess, though.
Yeah, college.
Yeah, it was in my third year of college.
I got married that year.
Yeah, wow. I was
And I'm
18 that
older.
year. But,
Yeah.
but you look back, right, and you see the financial crisis hit
Yeah.
and everything else, okay? The prices of the houses just started going down.
Plummeting,
I don't think we're going to see that.
No,
No.
I
But,
don't either.
but you look and you say, okay, it's all on supply and demand, right? Florida got hit first back then.
Yep.
All right. And if we talked about it
Sure.
several minutes ago, where Florida's starting to see the price reductions.
Sure.
You know, everywhere, you know, maybe California is going to start to see it. It might take 6 months, it might take a year
Yeah.
to come to us, but eventually it will come to us where I'm not saying, hey, we're going to plummet, we're going to see the price
You think that
reduction.
there's going to be a correction of
There's
some sort?
got to be some sort
But
of correction.
I also-
if you look at the interest rates, you look
Yeah.
at the credit card, the debt, and everything else, something's got to give here.
I agree, but I think too when you take places like Arizona, places like Texas, places like North Carolina,
second
South Carolina,
homes, whatever.
Florida, those used to be. You would sell your house in New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. You'd make a ton of money on your house there. You'd sell. You'd move down south, and you would live nicely. I think part of the issue is so many people went there. It jacked the market up so high that even listen, that same house in New Jersey, that 3,500 square foot home in Florida might be $650 now, but it would still cost you $1 million to have that house in Jersey. People were like, hey, you know what? Let's go down there. It's cheaper. Now all of a sudden things are starting to level out. And you know what? There's always going to be that influx. People want like the weather. They're going to like certain things like that. But that huge migration was because of taxes. It was because of home prices, all of that stuff. Now, I think anybody who was going to move did that already.
Right.
And that great migration. People are still
Correct.
going to retire there, things like
Yep.
that. But I think that huge pull kind of is kind of gone already.
That's why I like two educated, you know, college educated guys on the show here. You know, all
School of the
words,
hard knocks
School of
over
Hard
here.
Knocks.
School of the hard knocks.
Jeez.
Right?
But you I looked at today. I pulled
Yep.
out the hot sheet today.
Yep.
Okay. And 13 houses came up in Montclair. 13. That's a lot of houses.
It's also the time of year, I feel like, too, right?
Yeah,
13's
we're-
a lot.
Wait, we're in May, right before Memorial Day.
Would that have been a lot 10 years ago? 20
Yeah,
years ago?
I think so.
13
You
houses
think?
in
Yeah,
one day?
in one day.
And in a big town like Montclair?
But in one day, think about it. Think
Look,
about what we're.
everybody's smart, though.
No, but think about
Yeah,
how
take
we're
advantage of the
looking.
market.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's starting to say now. This is why I'm
Yeah.
again doom and gloom or whatever. Everybody's starting to say, okay, here. You know what? The real estate market's crazy. The real estate market's hot. Whatever. All right, let me put my house out there.
Just see what happens,
Just
right?
to see what happens. Let me put it
'Cause
up
you
for
really
$1
never
million.
know.
Meanwhile, it's only worth 800,000.
100%, yeah.
But that's what's gonna affect the pricing of real estate, because now that house that you want to put up for $1 million, if you get a realtor that doesn't know anything,
Yeah.
oh yeah, let's put up that house for $1 million. Meanwhile, if it was you or I that went to that listing, it would have been a $799 house.
Absolutely. And multiple offers.
And multiple
probably would've
offers,
got
maybe
them more.
got
Yeah,
close to
couple.
$1 million,
Yeah, yep,
900, 850,
Absolutely.
whatever. But now you put that house up for $1 million. Everybody's looking. That house is not worth $1 million. So now it's sitting, and it's sitting. You either have to reduce it, or you're going to have to take it off the market.
100% agree.
So, okay. So now 13 houses came up in Montclair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they're overpriced. I didn't even look. I just counted. I'm saying to myself, this is insane. All of a sudden, say all those houses are overpriced. Now they're going to sit there. So what's the mentality of the average American consumer? Why is that house sitting there?
well, they're
not-
always going
no.
to think that there's something wrong with
There's
the house.
something
That's
wrong
going
with
to
the
be the
house.
first
But
thing
now
that
you
people
have
think.
13
Yes,
houses.
agreed.
Maybe they're all high.
'Cause that's the most detrimental thing
Right.
to
There's
a house
something
is
wrong with that
overpricing.
house.
Yes.
It doesn't
Okay?
matter what's wrong with the house, at the end of the day. If you
It's
price it, all the problems go away. That's
right.
it, right?
But that's where, again, you and I come
Yeah, of
in
course.
and you talk to these people and say, hey, guess what? You want $1 million?
Yep.
I think the house is worth 800. I'm not listing it.
And if
Go
it's going,
to
if
somebody
you're
else.
going to have a chance of getting this, you can't,
You can't do this.
You got to
Right.
do this.
And if you want somebody else, then you know what? Get somebody else to do it. But that's a difference
agree.
between a seasoned real estate agent and someone.
But not
just
to mention,
starting
too,
out.
buyers are so well informed right now, too,
Right.
that like they know when they see $1 million home hit the market, whether they've seen it or not, that they know they're going to have to go 100,000 over asking,
Right,
150,000.
right.
They're
So
not.
now-
So if their budget is only $1 million, they're never going to go and look at
right,
that
but
house.
now-
So you
Yeah.
removed an entire buyer pool from that entire transaction.
Right,
too.
but now you're looking at that house $1 million. Oh, I got to go $1.1 million. Nobody's even going to go look
They're
at
not
it.
going to go look at it. Exactly.
There
You
you
lose
go.
that whole buyer pool.
Damn. Even though I didn't go to college,
I'll tell you what,
I got a
man.
little bit. I got a little bit.
Listen,
I
you're
got
a
a little
numbers
bit.
You got the
guy.
street. You got the street smarts,
Yeah.
right? That's
Hey, you are
a
a numbers
Patterson guy, right?
No,
That's it.
That's right. That's a Patterson guy right there. The old school Patterson.
That's
Yeah.
a Patterson.
That's
in
right.
it.
It's awesome.
So Jay, what do you
Yep.
think of this? I thought
This
it
was
was pretty
fantastic.
cool,
Yeah,
right?
A
fun.
lot of fun, man.
You didn't
lot
look
of fun.
nervous.
No.
No?
Yeah.
I'm chilling. Listen, but I'm comfortable talking about this
Talking,
type of shit.
right.
though. You know what I
There
mean?
you go. Listen.
Well, it's like Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Seinfeld always said, "We talk about nothing."
Talking
Yeah.
about a subject matter like we're talking about all kinds
a
of
little
shit.
bit of
Yeah.
sign.
You got a Don Bosco shirt on too.
I saw that.
You're a
Fantastic.
Bergen County guy too.
No, my brother went there.
Where do you guys live?
Verona,
Oh, he went to Don Bosco.
Verona
Jesus.
Hillbillies?
football player.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna bring his brother on.
That's
one
it.
day.
Right?
Verona
The Verona
Hillbillies.
Hillbillies. That's their
I was
mascot.
gonna say Verona's not a hillbilly anymore.
Worst name, yeah.
But I
No offense to Verona.
Not at all.
but again, prediction: it's gonna stay the same.
What's that?
The market,
Rates?
rates, market.
No, home
everything.
home prices will go up. Nationally, I think you'll see like 10 to 12%.
Prediction.
I'm gonna say rates are gonna go down. We're gonna get one more cut this year, I think.
Nice.
Small one, a small one.
Okay.
Something very small. Whether it has to do with the election or whether it has to do with the end of the year, I think we're going to get something very, very. We're going to get a little bone. Here's
Okay.
a bone.
Here's a bone. Very good. And I finished my wine.
I finished mine as well.
Oh boy! Just,
I have an appointment after
Come
this.
on.
Friggin' 9:30 appointment. You
9:30
got.
at night. I got an
9:30 at
appointment.
night.
I
Got an
can't
appointment.
believe that. Well, the wine is done. The cork is in. Thank
All
you,
right,
Victoria.
beautiful.
And
Thank you for having me.
No,
Yeah.
thank you for coming.
My
I'm
pleasure.
glad we had a nice
Yeah,
conversation
definitely. This
here.
was a great time.
And on that note, one day, and that day will come when you need to buy or sell a house. And when that day does come, you will call Vito Cantuzzi, the godfather of Northern New Jersey real estate.
Amen to that.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.